And I'm back with more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Justice for All. We're talking with Oldbag. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. Ugh. Anyway, after the ceremony, all I did was pace around the hallway. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made a sure good eye this whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was him. It was on guard. He was trying to sneak his way past out of it. So he came out of the victim's room? It has to be him. He's the murderer. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. So, press the fifth statement. 1, 2, 3, 4. You saw my client. Are you sure about that? Yeah, see? Really? Annoying brat! I say I saw someone, I saw him! Why don't we get the sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this further. Option 3. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are! Really, as if something like that matters. It does? No, what was it? Oh yeah, it was that thing. That gaudy thing he's always wearing. And that racing jacket. Oh, he's wearing that at the detention center too. That thing's meant for someone nothing but seducing women out of their money. Out of their pantaloons. Men. Right. Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important? Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out the part where the testimony is important. Don't you see it? Your Honor, I request the witness said about the jacket to be appended in her testimony. Well, I don't see where you're going with this, but alright, witness, please. Ah, well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must, I don't mind it. Miss Oldbag. What? Don't say my name without no reason. You know what this is? Ah, it's button number 2! Now I know she's obsessed. She identified it in a single glance. Give it! Give it! Give it! You don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this! She really is a diehard fan. I want a button. This button was discovered on Mr. Ungard's body with a full body search. See? This button proves without a doubt he was there. It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai pants. See? He's a nickel samurai! Witness. Now, it may just be me, but I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say that the defendant was wearing his usual racing jacket? I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I were the oh god. Good fucking. Is it slower than it was last game? Meh. Hold your tongue still for a second. What you saw in actuality was not Mr. Ungard the man, but the nickel samurai? Well, when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway. Miss Oldbag, that's a very important point we're talking about. Gee poo, you think so too, don't you? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. On guard. Yeah, I remember. Neko Samurai! It was the samurai I saw. It would have been convenient for him to wear that costume. He had to go to the post-ceremony stage show anyway. Must have worn it while he was stabbing poor Juan. Yeah, I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside the costume. What? Didn't you think there was someone else inside it? Don't be such a bad little boy. Thinking such rude things. But the possibility does exist. No, youngins today, I tell you. Ain't no one way if there's anyone else. She does sound like Ben Triloquist. God damn it. I have been using that same voice the whole time. Anyway, how do you know that? Because I said so. And when I say the truth, at least she's as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Hit, statement, knife. 2, 3, 4, 5. Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. You trying to scare me with that? You know it won't work. That's not my intention. That's the knife used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is so important? You don't even have to ask because it's the defendant's fingerprints on it. Is that what you're driving at? That's exactly what I'm driving at. Whose car are we driving? Mr. Ungard really was in this Neko Samurai costume. Then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on the knife. Actually, he would have wiped off all previous fingerprints that his knife had right off. Oh, that's right, he wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took off his gloves before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear about it. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume. At the time, the defendant held no intent for murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk to the victim. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and victim. Yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say? So let me get this straight. His theory goes, when the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him? I don't see any problems, but there's a contradiction. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose that Mr. Ungard is the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. This knife, this was used by Mr. Ungard during dinner. Yes, we did establish that, which means that if my client was, in fact, the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he visited Mr. Kurita. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At the time, the defendant held no intention for murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means that the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity. Order! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame my client. To frame? Aren't you forcing your interpretation a little too hard on this one? We just established that the witness saw the nickel samurai. If that were true, there wouldn't be a single fingerprint on the knife. Ugh. Looks like I made your life a little bit difficult, didn't I, Edgy Poo? Did you or did you not really see the nickel samurai? Well, I guess at first I must have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up the people with the character? I mean, I can't really do anything about that now! Look, I was waiting around for the front door, because... Well, I wasn't waiting around for the nickel samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the nickel samurai. Okay, who were you waiting for, then? That's top secret for anyone outside of security. I have a feeling you were waiting for Mr. Kurita. Am I correct? The way you think, I'm a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. What, me? So she was waiting in front of the victim's room. Doesn't sound like she's waiting for Kurita. Maybe she was waiting for that person. If it is who I think it is, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person, weren't you? Who is this? Adrian Andrews, Mr. On Guard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this was the latest rumor in circulation. No, this is... Well... The judge seems really into this article. There could be such a thing. Then this manager... Are you saying... Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought this as well. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away the whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then. What in the world are you? Watch out, Phoenix. I got a bad feeling about this. I got some information. Very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I'm doing my own little investigation. It's secret, of course. But why the... just for myself, dearie. Personal reasons and all that. Well, how do we proceed? I don't really want to do this, however, I simply cannot let this point slide. Very well, then. Please testify about this secret information. Get ready. This is going to take the wind out of you youngins. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. It's not like we're 10 years old. That Unguard's one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin my poor wand by causing a huge scandal. And to do that, he sent his own manager to get close. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. And it's top secret, got it? Nobody else. And you ain't supposed to know that, okay? The defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court. What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant. Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We've looked into this matter and found that the truth this article proposes is just baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. So that means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful. This old bag seems rather excited. That's right! Nothing but an average foul-blooded youth. Well, you gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburner and hit the... What? Phoenix, I don't understand that one. Alright, fifth statement with evidence. Okay. Yeah. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over. Secret information no one else knows yet? If that's true, then how do you know this secret information? Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro, that's it. It's a secret! You have that drilled in my brain, you'll never find out. How in the world she'd get that secret piece of information? So no one else is supposed to know this top secret information, correct? If that's true, then why do you know it? Huh? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop it! Witness? I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your information, isn't it? The investigative photographer Lotta Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she lost a certain note while she was she had written for herself. She reported such a thing. On that piece of paper, she'd written out some of her outrageous impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, huh? No, I said impressions. Then everything written on here is completely meaningless? That's it, that's the note. No, there's something different. This is my top secret list of groceries. And you're the one who took Miss Lotta Hart's note. I'm a huge fan of wands, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil on guard, she said so herself. She was so happy smiling at that silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Gee, you believe me, don't you? Ugh. I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. I'm only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything like that before. You should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Well, it's only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook it. If I let up now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow. You said the only thing you stole was the note. Is that correct? Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible, lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, and I can prove it. Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny? Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that note's the only thing you stole. Miss Oldbag, that note was inside a camera in the case, wasn't it? A camera? Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink about losing her camera. She kept saying, my sweetie $1,600 camera disappeared on me. What is it, Gramps? If you have the note, then it's only logical you have the camera too. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you were looking for? What? Even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you, and I borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card and then I noticed what it said. Slimebag celebrity photographer extraordinaire. When I saw that, I had to know what kind of picture she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know. Check this camera's photos, hurry! We must examine them at once. Well, what do we have? There's only one photo that seems relevant to this case. Please present it to the court. This is the Nickel Samurai. I told you. That's the guy I saw. This proves the witness was not lying earlier. What does this all mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The photo by itself does not prove that the person is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Ungard clearly stated, at the time of the murder, he was still in his costume. If that's the case, then this Nickel Samurai is the defendant. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to an end. We've examined every piece of evidence. Final comments. The court will consider these before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence? If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection, then I'll put Maya's life in jeopardy. Can't make a mistake. There's only one road out of this mess. I mean, this is very reminiscent of the Steel Samurai case, because those pants are really fucking riding up on there. There's something strange. I knew this was coming. Your thoughts? I think we can all agree there's nothing strange with this photo. There is no way for the defense to debunk this photograph, even with a bunker buster. Debunk it with a... Is that what you're planning to do? Anyway, please take a look at this photo. If you really believe there's honestly something wrong, please find it. Then you should only need one chance. Well, then let me save just to make fucking sure. They keep giving me these whole one chance things. Okay, fucking hell. Where the heck did she take this photo from anyway? Get a good shot. Then let's hear your objection. It's at the bottom of his pants. I would like to direct the court's attention to one area. His ankles. You can see this person's ankles. That'd be one thing. However, you can't. And what does that mean? The costume person in this photo could not have been Mr. Ungard. What's the meaning of this? I wonder if you'd care to elaborate with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama. His socks, you can see his socks! Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding the hakama up to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside the costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Yep, we're pulling this Steel Samurai trick again. I think I've turned things around. That's curious. Edgeworth's unusually calm about it. That's true. He's just letting this trial run itself as if he's just along for the ride. What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. You mean we haven't damaged his case at all? Mr. Edgeworth, where does that leave us? If the person in this photo is not Mr. Ungard, then everything the prosecution's tried to prove has become meaningless. I figured it would come to this. Right. I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not Mr. Ungard. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who's the person wearing it? Don't stress this over. It's very simple. What you should focus on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Why is he so calm? Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? Adrian Andrews. If you want to know who the Nickel Samurai is, it's none other than that woman. And why would you say it has to be her? What in the world would point to her? For starters, she's short. She can freely move between Mr. Ungard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Ungard that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with his fingerprints all over it. The knife that was used in the murder. Why don't you just say what's on your mind? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Carrito. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame my client for the crime. Order! Order! Looks like this has hit an unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes? This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony. Alright, this is it. This is kind of bad. What do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. Okay, and if I don't get a verdict today... Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? Please, continue this trial. We have to pass a verdict today. I can't do that. You cannot hear her testimony. That's not... I abhor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth! Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But we cannot continue this unexpected development. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me. And what do you mean by that? That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Andrews at all. As if it was happening according to plan. Even if Mr. Wright is a bit slow to catch on. What? What? What's the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution lobby. She is the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance? Somehow I knew there was no way he would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle's far from over. Exactly. Very well. We'll call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time. The court will now take a recess. Yay! So I should be able to get through this next set. Maybe a bit of the investigation. We'll see. Alright. And I will see you guys next time.